Newsmaker Sunday with Fox 10's John Hook.
Thanks for joining us on Newsmaker Sunday. This morning, my conversation with Cardinals president Michael Bidwill. As we review what happened in this remarkable past week with the Super Bowl played a week ago today, Michael Bidwill reflecting on the Super Bowl, our grade here in Arizona, how we did, the chances of getting another one, and the ongoing political intrigue with Glendale. Great to see you.
Great to see you.
It's been a while, but you're on a roll, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, we've had a tremendous past couple of weeks and past couple of years on the field, so it's exciting to be where we are and looking forward.
We're a week away from Super Bowl being here as this airs on Sunday. Looking back, how would you grade it? How do you feel about what happened here last Sunday?
I think it was an A+, and it really started, the whole community started getting ready, months ago, and as all the people came together, planners came together. We couldn't have imagined how awesome it would be, but with starting the week with the Pro Bowl, having all the activities in downtown Phoenix, having the Waste Management Phoenix Open going on at the same time, and crowning it with perhaps the best Super Bowl in Super Bowl history, it was just amazing. I'd say the only thing that I would like to change is I would have liked to have the Cardinals in that Super Bowl and us lifting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the game.
When you grade it, is there anything that surprised you during the week? Anything that you would, going forward, say, we can improve on this? Anything where you say, we knocked it out of the park, let's duplicate that? What would those things be?
Well, I think probably the number one thing is we established ourselves as a world-class destination for mega events, for Super Bowls, for Pro Bowls, for national championship games, for NCAA Final Fours. I'd say that was one piece. Two, our hospitality. The people of Arizona really came alive, and we made a noticeable imprint on our visitors that our hospitality, our Southwestern hospitality here in Arizona is exceptional. I'd say thirdly, downtown Phoenix with Super Bowl Central, Verizon Super Bowl Central. I was blown away with what we can do with downtown Phoenix, and it was just such an awesome atmosphere. The city was alive, the restaurants were packed, everybody was having a good time, the streets were filled. That's what a downtown can be, and we did it, and that to me means we can do more.
Do the owners pull you aside and say, "Wow, Michael, this has really been a home run"? Do they do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, had probably 12, 15 of them, and I know there'll be more when I see them at committee meetings here in a couple of weeks. Got a couple of notes, emails. In addition,
is it safe to say they love coming here?
They really do.
I mean, you guys did NFL meetings here forever. So.
Yeah. We've got another one coming up.
Right.
So yeah, no, they love. I mean, there were some challenges in 2008. It was probably a little bit too spread out, but we've addressed all those. And with what we did here in 2015, we've got the right template to move forward with.
Tell me about the decision to move the NFL experience to downtown Phoenix. Who makes that call?
Well, it was the league made it, but there were other factors. A year and a half ago, when the new mayor and the new city manager came into Glendale, we sat down and talked to him and said, "Look, there needs to be more of a partnership. There needs to be more support from your hotel community." We gave them a few months to try to figure it out. They didn't. There was a newspaper article that came out that said, "Hey, the game or the NFL experience may move out." Really nothing happened since then, and those events, and the media day was moved out of the stadium, and everything was moved to downtown Phoenix. And I think when you look at it, the investment that Phoenix made, the investment in the partnership that Scottsdale and Phoenix made, there were great returns for those two communities to participate and for their hotels. And so it was great to have those things sort of reformulated, and I think they became bigger and better. We set an all-time attendance record for the NFL experience.
Right.
And
I think you were at 170-some thousand down there, weren't you? Or 177,000. 177,000 over the weekend.
Yeah, we put our light rail to work that
record
weekend.
Numbers there.
Doubled the record numbers, so it's just crazy. You know, we've got this great infrastructure we've invested in, and especially with the stadium being able to host these games, I think we're really onto something here.
Tell me about that relationship with Glendale right now. I mean, Jerry Wires walked back some of his comments, the mayor of Glendale. He was pretty critical there for a few days, but I think now that the game is over, he's kind of walked some of that back.
Yeah.
I get a sense, and we can delve into this a little bit, this idea that maybe everybody should spread the number, the cost for securing the Super Bowl venue. Do you think that in theory Wires may have a point there, that maybe we should go down that road going forward?
I think Glendale's got some fuzzy math. I think they did very well. I think that
you don't buy that they lost $2 million on it?
Not at all. Not at all. And so I believe they made money on this. They made money on Super Bowl 42. And I think there were a lot of decisions that seemed to be driven by insiders at Glendale City Hall that just were to benefit, I think didn't benefit the entire community. And I think what they ought to do is take the kind of approach that Phoenix and Scottsdale and other communities did, because they got tremendous returns on investment, those other two communities that participated as partners. And so, the new template that we're moving forward on, I hope they get on board with it.
What is that? Describe what that would be.
I think it's, the games are going to be hosted at the stadium. There are going to be other events that are going to happen. Many of them are going to happen in the communities that support it. My hope is that Glendale City Hall and their hotels get on board with these future events and enthusiastically support them. And then I think you're going to see things other than muddy concerts outside in Glendale.
Was that a little bit embarrassing to you that was happening outside your stadium, the DirecTV and the mud bog and cars getting stuck? That's out of your control, but just overall impression, when you see that popping up on TV, were you kind of rolling your eyes and going, oh man, come on?
Well, I think when I look at all the great things that happened over the weekend, they weren't happening there, and the right messages were coming out of different parts of our community. I wish we'd have taken this time for all of us in Arizona to be having positive messages rather than talking about who's getting free football tickets.
Have you talked to him since? Have you talked to Jerry Wires? Have you guys spoken?
I haven't spoken to him in probably a year.
So that speaks to the relationship is a little bit frosty right now.
Well, I wouldn't say it's frosty. It's just we make clear what the expectations were of being a part of this Super Bowl and being a constructive, productive member of this broader community, and there just really hasn't been the kind of reaction that we were hoping for.
One more thing on that. If the legislature starts to draft legislation again to try to spread out and defer the security costs, because you would agree Glendale bears the brunt of that?
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
Okay, set that straight, because people are confused.
All the security costs paid for inside the stadium are paid for by the host committee and by the NFL. I mean, this whole thing that Glendale's shouldering all those costs is not true. They pay for traffic control outside, which is a little bit more enhanced than a typical Cardinals game. So the idea that there were all these additional costs that were in excess of the great amount of revenue that came in on game day, I just don't buy it.
It's not true.
Yeah.
You're saying it's not true?
I don't believe it.
Interesting. Okay. So this idea, if somebody says, let's spread the cost out of the Super Bowl among the whole state, would you go for that or no?
John, here's what I think we have, is we've got these great assets. We've got this great tourism resort and spa and golf destination. We've got a great stadium, other great venues, and a meeting center. What we need to do is have a community-wide and a statewide strategy that coalesces all of our assets so that we can compete and dominate in this area, where we can compete against these other cities that are routinely getting these events. I think Arizona ought to dominate in this. I want to be talking about how we do that, not how we talk about Glendale's financial problems. So we can do that as a community. That's what I think all of us should be focused on, and that's what I want to be involved in the discussion about.
When we look at next Super Bowl, what do you think is realistic? Because looking at the stadiums that are going to be built and maybe LA getting in the mix here, do you think we're really realistically looking at 2021 rather than 2020, or do you think we have a shot in 5 years?
I know a lot of people have put out different dates,
Right.
but the way the NFL's Super Bowl process works now is we've got to be invited back in to bid on it. We can't just show up and put on a bid.
And you believe that will happen for sure?
I think I think after the feedback, we're going to get invited back in. I just don't know when it's going to be. And so it's my hope that we're invited back soon. I'm going to be working that. I've already been talking to the different people that influence that, and I'm going to be working very hard to try to get it back soon. But in the meantime, we have a national championship football game in January of 2016, and March of 2017 we have the NCAA Final Fours. And what I want to do is be helping develop and make sure those events are great, because this just isn't a point in time. It's the beginning of a period of these major events where we can use them as anchors to do two things. One, economic impact.
Right.
There's no doubt we had economic impact. And two, America forms its opinions through imagery. The amount of imagery that came out of Arizona over the last 2 weeks is just incredible. You know, we got a lot of Pro Bowl exposure, a lot of exposure around Super Bowl and around the Phoenix Open. And so I think those two things are the reason we're really focused on that. And as we go forward, we need to also take advantage of what Governor Ducey led this time around. We brought in 70 visiting CEOs through a visiting CEO program that are serious about expanding out to the Mountain West, including Arizona. And it was what I call corporate free agency. We met with these people.
You were working it.
He worked tirelessly.
This goes back to your time at GPEC as the chairman of GPEC.
Exactly, and in my time on the Arizona Commerce Authority board now.
Right.
This is about expansion of jobs and expansion of opportunity for Arizonans. So if we use these next two events and then hopefully get a Super Bowl down the line to continue to bring jobs here, great high-paying jobs with benefits of companies that are brand name companies, entrepreneurial, as well as innovative companies that are doing exciting things. I really think we can diversify our economy and use these major sporting events to help not only sell our image, but also land great new jobs here in Arizona.
So you were doing that during Super Bowl week. You guys were courting companies during Super Bowl week.
Yeah, and the person who led us all was Governor Doug Ducey. He worked all weekend starting Thursday, and he announced Monday, that Apple's here, a $2 billion investment in Arizona.
That wasn't tied into the Super Bowl, though, right?
It was coincidental, but at the same time, they were here because of the Super Bowl. They had been working with them previously, but he worked all weekend to make sure that deal got cinched up. And so, but there were other companies along the lines were still operating under some non-disclosure agreements. We can't say who they are, but big-time companies.
You can say, though, that you believe these kinds of events will translate into companies actually relocating here or expanding here.
No question in my mind,
Wow,
John.
that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
Okay, so these ideas, and you've heard it all, the number that was put out there was $500 million that this would generate economically. You're saying there's a benefit above and beyond that could roll for years to come.
Right. The vision was to, and Governor Ducey has really pushed this hard, is that there's going to be a legacy of jobs that come out of these major events, as well as the exposure, reshaping Arizona's more positive image, and hoping that visitors come back. But it was a strategy, and that strategy is going to continue on around these other events.
Let's talk for a minute about Arizona's image. We had taken a lot of hits between SB 1070, 1062. There've been a lot of issues here. Do you think that an event like a Super Bowl can start to unwind some of that, the negative stuff that had happened over the past couple of years?
Absolutely, and it did. You look at the Wall Street Journal article that was done, the New York Times article, all the different news programming that came out across the major networks, as well as the sports networks, as well as the business networks that were broadcasting, and the imagery. The imagery, we can't underestimate how important that is. You know, we Americans, we see imagery, and it's something, we have a unique place here with Arizona. We take it for granted. But the reason why we all live here, it's not necessarily Monday through Friday. It's Friday through Monday. We can drive up into the mountains, hike, ski, just get away from things, or we can stay down here in the desert and enjoy hiking, water sports, just getting outside and doing outdoor activities like golf and tennis. There's no place else in the country that can do that within a 2-hour drive. It's uniquely Arizona. And so what we need to do is be out there telling that story around all the other positive metrics that we have. And there's a concerted effort to push that forward. Governor Ducey is going to be leading that effort.
So let's say that, these economists who look at this, I think Cooper's looked at it. You've got this guy, where's he from? Holy Cross or someplace. You get a lot of guys who are detractors. You've read all this.
Oh, yeah.
They say the $500 million is, you say fuzzy math, you use that term before. They say it's not real, that the economic impact might be half that, and then you've got this guy from Holy Cross saying it might be $30 million. Let's say that you split the difference. Well, go ahead.
Let me just say, that guy was sitting up in Massachusetts in a snowstorm. He wasn't here in Phoenix seeing all the direct spending that was going on, and I know what the direct spending. If he says $30 million, the host committee spent alone, we raised and spent $30 million. I know the NFL's expenditure far exceeds that by multiples.
Okay, so
I don't know that I can get into the numbers, but I know the numbers. And then you look at all the different other advertisers out here around the NFL that are activating, Pepsi, Budweiser, all the different, McDonald's was out here. There were so many other different companies that are just NFL partners, then the ones that were just coming into town because it's America's greatest sporting event. There is no question a lot of money was spent. Last time around, ASU's, it wasn't my study, ASU's School of Business did the study, the W.P. Carey School of Business did the study, and they said Super Bowl 42 was a $500 million economic impact. I believe this time around, when you combine the Pro Bowl with the Super Bowl, I think it's going to be a number that is really, really positive for Arizona.
More important than that would be the potential, if what you're saying is accurate, that you may end up landing companies because of this.
Right.
That's
$2 billion worth of investment from Apple, one of its largest investments outside of the state.
I guess what I'm getting at is, let's say the direct economic impact is maybe less than what has been said. What I hear you saying is there's another impact that may be felt a year or 2 or 3 down the line because of what happened last weekend.
No question. I think when I look at some of the CEOs that I met with, whose faces are on the covers of Forbes and Business Week, brand names that you recognize, might even be carrying with you today, those people wouldn't have been here last weekend but for the Super Bowl. And to have a face-to-face, a chance to meet with those people and talk about all the opportunity here in Arizona, the lifestyle that we all enjoy so much, and the ability to work with a pro-business governor. I mean, it is dramatically, we had a couple of dramatic moments where the governor was speaking with these business leaders, talking about the things that he's going to do in a very business-like manner that eliminate needless regulation and allow for business to flourish. That's what business leaders and job creators want to hear, and that's what they were buzzing about, and they are excited about knowing that for the next 4 years, probably 8 years, they've got a government here that's going to be very pro-business.
Let's talk about the stadium for a minute. It's brilliant that you've got an open roof and you can do that. We didn't have the roof open in '08 because of the weather at that time. It was too cold?
Yeah, it was a game day call that it wasn't too cold. There was a threat of rain, so it's the only Super Bowl, or the only stadium that's hosted both an indoor Super Bowl and an outdoor Super Bowl.
That was, I think, dramatic imagery, having that roof open. And natural grass. I mean,
yeah,
the owners have got to, the NFL's got to love that component of it.
They do.
The players love it.
They do. I mean, I can't say much more. I mean, the stadium performs great as a Super Bowl venue.
And they dressed it up nicely. It looked really, really good.
It took my breath away when I saw some of those shots, the flyover with the Thunderbird.
You've watched the broadcast back.
I have. We had the game going up in our suite and I had one eye on the field and one eye on the TV watching a lot of that imagery.
Let's Back on Newsmaker Sunday, continuing my conversation with Cardinals president Michael Bidwill. First and foremost, Larry Fitzgerald. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen with Larry.
Well, we've had some great conversation. He and I have had several conversations. We sat down, had dinner 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, before he left on his trip. He wants to stay as a Cardinal. It's just a matter of
He wants to finish his career here.
Yes, he does, and that's what we want. And so it's a matter of working out the details around his contract.
I don't believe he would. I know he loves this place, but I don't think he'd want to stay if he didn't think he had a real shot at a ring.
I agree with you, and he does feel like he has a real shot at the ring.
The future of the Cardinals right now. I mean, Bruce Arians, he's coach of the year 2 years out of 3, once with the Colts and once with you guys. I mean, you talk about kind of serendipitous that.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get all the best videos from Fox 10.